Hello, I'm Dr. Douglas Hines, and this is a webinar on healthy living. Now, we're making some adaptations here because one of our guests was not able to attend for health reasons, actually. So we're going to go ahead and cover the topics anyway, post this to our YouTube channel, and then reschedule the webinar that has participation and so forth. So, as I say, I'm Dr. Douglas Hines. I'm the inventor of PerfectCoaches, the app. I hold the patent. And I'm also the founder of ourclub.tech. And what ourclub.tech is about is an international organization focused on coaching, leading, innovating, and giving folks a sense of belonging and professional integration with other folks. So we're going to be talking about healthy living, and we consider healthy living to be a skill, just like any other skill that you would learn for business and school, in sports. It's a way of doing things. And it's what we've done is bring together the research on health and wellness, and we've identified 10 habits that constitute this skill of healthy living. Now, the first concept that we have is that healthy living comes from gratitude, feeling grateful. And in the model we've developed, you feel grateful for your body and therefore you take good care of it. And then you feel grateful for your life itself, and you learn to nurture life and nurture yourself. And that's what this is about. So let's kind of get started. The with healthy living, thanking your body. So most of the folks who are watching this will know what these habits are because it's fairly well known what constitutes good health. And the first habit we've identified is visualize a target self. And what that means is you should have in your mind a concept of who you want to be, what your body should look like, what your mode of dress should look like. You should visualize this target self. This is who I want to be. And you should strive to become that target self. So that's really the first habit. And next, we talk about eat your to eat list. Now, this is a variant of another skill that we teach under professional excellence, which is do your to do list. And this is sort of the same thing. You have to set your goals at the beginning of the day. This is what I'm going to eat. We provide a template that enables you to roughly calculate the caloric intake that those foods will involve, and whether that's the right amount of calories for you to be eating. But the thing about your to eat list is at the end of the day, you will know whether you did it or not. And a little bit later in the discussion, we're going to talk about, well, how do you form habits? And you learn by doing. You do them, and it's easier to learn a habit if at the end of the day you know whether you practice it or not. And you can do that with your to eat list. Now, the next item, you've heard lots of talk about this, is getting enough exercise. And we call it exercise 2% plus. And we came up with that 2% because one of the standard recommendations is to get at least 30 minutes of exercise. And that's 2% of a 24-hour day. So you also know if you did that or not at the end of the day. Now, here's one you know if you did it or not, but you might be struggling to get it done. We call it say bravo to H2O. But the idea there is you need to drink the right amount of water to stay hydrated. And we all know how important that is, what dehydration can do. And it's a challenge for me, I can tell you, to drink 64 ounces of water every day, but I try to do it because you can drink club soda, for example. You can substitute other liquids. But I know at the end of the day whether I did this or not. Say bravo to H2, and I usually succeed. Next, we have the next habit we call do your ABZs. And ABZ stands for allocate your bedroom to sleeping. The Z's symbolize sleeping. Now, the research on getting good amount of rest, knowing how much rest you need, almost invariably talks about how important it is to have a place to sleep. And that should be your bedroom. Now, everybody's got a different living arrangement. That's understandable. But some place in your living space, you should have a bedroom. It may not be a traditional bedroom, but you'd have a place to go where you can turn the lights off and just concentrate on going to bed, not watching TV, not watching Netflix, not watching your friends on Facebook. Just concentrate on getting relaxed, getting comfortable, and going to sleep. So ABZ, allocate your bedroom to sleeping. And then the last habit we've identified, we call just ask why to drugs. Now, long ago and far away, President Ronald Reagan was campaigning against drug abuse. This is in in the 80s, basically. And his wife, Nancy Reagan, was giving a talk one day to a group of school kids. And one of the children asked, what do I do if somebody offers me drugs? And she said very emphatically, just say no. And it became an advertising campaign back in the day. And actually, the experts quibbled about how successful it was or was not, but it was good advice. Just say no. So now in 2024, there's all kinds of different drugs that we can use. And sometimes we don't think of them as drugs. Caffeine, nicotine, alcohol, they're sort of baked into social life. Marijuana is now joining that list because it's becoming legal in most places. So ask yourself, why am I going to do that? The example I use for myself is a nightcap. Do I really need, another glass of wine? So we call that habit, just ask why to drugs. So there you have a list of things that if you are grateful for your body, then you will treat it right and you'll do things. You'll have some sense of what you want it to look like. You're going to be careful about what you eat. You're going to get enough exercise. You're going to drink enough water. You're going to get enough sleep, and you're going to stay away from drugs. And this is not rocket science. Most of the people know what's on that list. But what we have tried to do is bring the whole list together and provide a way to make sure you learn these habits. And you learn it through repetition, and you learn it through being mindful of the cues and reinforcers that drive that habit. And you don't need the Perfect Coaches app for that if you have this list. But if you have this list and you have the app and you have the artificial intelligence that reminds you that this is what you're trying to do, it helps you understand the cues and reinforcers, you're much more likely to succeed. So that's thanking your body. Now, thanking life is a little bit more challenging, frankly, when we present these ideas, because there's a spiritual element to that. There's a subtlety to that eludes you unless you're focused on it. So the first of the four habits in that category is thank your breath. Now, this makes sense when you say it. If you think about it, breathing is, you can't live if you're not breathing. And so how do you thank your breath? Well, you become more mindful that it's there. You stop and then you appreciate it. And there's a couple of very simple exercises that we talk about in the app. I also talk about these in my book, Life 7 Perfect Coaches, which the app is sort of a spinoff from that. And it's not that complicated. Shut up. shut your mind up to the extent that you can. Be still, be quiet for maybe 5 minutes, and concentrate on your breath. Become aware of it. Become aware of how your chest rises and falls with your breathing, and appreciate that. It's a very nice feeling if you think about it. So that's the first of our habits associated with thanking your life. Thank your breath. And that is one that has this binary sense to it. You either do it or you don't. And at the end of the day, you know that. And and with the help of the coach, you'll learn, well, some days I did it and some days I didn't do it. Why is that? And typically, as you will discover, you just didn't feel like it was important enough to set aside the time. Okay. So thanking your breath is the first element in our model to thanking life. Now, the next one's a little bit more challenging conceptually. Be your own friend. Now, what this involves is treating yourself the way you treat your friends, your valued friends, and treat yourself the way you want to be treated by them. And the most common uh, result of being your own friend is you learn not to be down on yourself when things go wrong, when you go wrong. That doesn't help. And a good friend is not going to beat you up because you made a mistake. So don't beat yourself up. And that's one of the things about being your own friend. The other thing we talk about in the book and in the app is take time to be by yourself. Be with your friend. You are your friend if you let yourself be. So that's a little bit tougher to measure, but it's very fun to strive for that every day. Do something that you believe reflects that your commitment to being your own friend. Next comes build a life team. Now that that is also very challenging, and it's a little bit more subtle to understand what we mean by a life team. And to keep it short in this short presentation, these are the people, a very small group of people typically, who are on your team, and you're on their team. And what is the team competing against? Life. Life is a challenge. It just simply it is. And it's better if you have other people on your team to try to meet that challenge. And it takes a while to select that team. I've compared to a pickup team in basketball, and when you're in high school, and people come on, people come off, and if you have your way, at least one day at the playground, you'll get the team you want. Somebody tall, somebody that shoots well, whatever. But so build a life team, and it takes a long time. And people come in and come out, but you'll know who the core team is because you can trust them and they can trust you. It's very much a two-way street. And when you're building a life team. Now, the last of the four habits associated with thanking life, we call do happy. And we've done a video just on this. It's on YouTube. And here's the concept. Every day, do at least one thing that the only reason you are doing that is because it makes you happy. And it can be a silly thing. It doesn't have to take a long time. I'm down in Florida. I have a place in Florida. And when I take my morning walk, there's a dog park there. And I just love to just stop and watch the dogs. And I'm a pretty busy guy, and I don't really have a whole lot of time to lollygag, but I just feel good. It makes me happy to watch them. Actually, part of the reason is because they know how to live really, and they're having fun at the dog park. So doing happy is when you just stop and do something just because it makes you feel good. Now I have trouble saying this right, so let me pause a minute to make sure I have this right. You don't sing because you're happy as much as you are happy because you sing. So your happiness derives from the things you do. And the same principle applies. You can make yourself unhappy by the things you do. My example, I'm careful with this in presentations, is watch the news. If you want to be angry, if you want to do angry, watch the news. Now, that's not true of everybody, and it's not really fair for me to leave that comment out there sitting alone, but you get the point. You stay away from the things that are going to make you feel bad, and you're attracted to the things that make you feel good. So that is a very, very brief overview. This can be done more interestingly and effectively as a conversation, and that's what we'll do in the future. But this, for now, this is what we were able to do today, and we want to make sure that we've provided everybody with this overview of this particular skill. Now, our club.tech is the parent organization for Perfect Coaches. We have other apps as well. We have some artificial intelligence, which I've talked about on LinkedIn posts. And you can get our app. Perfect Coaches is available at ourclub.tech, and you can also join the club, which has a lot of other benefits, including the sense of belonging, which will make you happy. So I'm Dr. Douglas Hines, talking a little bit fast, but hopefully this has been worth listening to. And please come to ourclub.tech and find out about all the good things we do. Okay, thank you very much. See you next time.